Your body fat is charging you 24% APR right now, and you don't even realize it. Every single kilogram of excess adipose tissue on your frame is functioning exactly like high-interest credit card debt, compounding against you silently, draining your metabolic resources, your energy, your hormonal output, and quite literally years off your life expectancy. Meanwhile, muscle tissue, the thing most people neglect while obsessing over their stock portfolio, is the single greatest compound interest vehicle your biology has ever offered you. Here's the thing. Imagine if I told you there was an asset class that increased your resting metabolic rate, improved your insulin sensitivity, which directly affects how your body partitions nutrients, enhanced your cognitive function, and statistically added quality years to your lifespan. You'd throw money at it, right? Well, that asset class is sitting right there on your skeleton, or at least it should be. Today I'm going to show you the exact mathematical formula for what I call total capital, the intersection of your net worth and your physical net worth, because one without the other is a bankrupt equation. My name is Godwin, and I spend way too much time thinking about how human beings optimize for the wrong variables in both their portfolios and their physiques. If you're someone who is tired of building a bank account while your health depreciates, or vice versa, grinding in the gym while your financial future remains undefined, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, let me draw something out for you here. Imagine a simple balance sheet, the kind any accountant would recognize. On the left side, we have assets, things that put value into your life. On the right side, we have liabilities, things that extract value from your life. Now here's what most people don't realize. Your body has its own balance sheet running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and most people are operating at a severe net negative without even understanding the statement. Let me illustrate this with concrete numbers because I think the abstraction is where people get lost. According to research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, 1 kilogram of muscle tissue burns approximately 13 calories per day at rest. Now I know what you're thinking. 13 calories. That's nothing. That's like a single bite of an apple. But here's where the compound interest mathematics come in. Let's say you add 5 kilograms of lean muscle mass over 2 years of consistent progressive overload training. That's 65 additional calories burned per day. Over a year, that's 23,725 calories. Over a decade, that's 237,250 calories, which translates to roughly 30 kilograms of fat that your body will burn automatically just because you made the investment. And that's the passive income, the dividends. That's not even counting the active metabolic boost during training, the improved nutrient partitioning, the enhanced glucose disposal. We're talking about an asset that literally pays you to own it. Now, let me draw the liability side, because this is where it gets really interesting and frankly a little disturbing. Body fat is not just neutral storage. It's metabolically active tissue that works against you. According to research from Harvard Medical School, visceral adipose tissue, the fat around your organs, produces inflammatory cytokines, disrupts insulin signaling, and directly correlates with increased healthcare costs. A 2018 study in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that each 5-unit increase in BMI above the healthy range corresponded to approximately $2,800 in additional annual healthcare expenditures. That is not a one-time cost. That is a recurring liability payment. That is the interest on your metabolic debt. So let me update our balance sheet on the whiteboard here. On the asset side, I'm writing muscle tissue with an arrow pointing to increased BMR, improved insulin sensitivity, enhanced mobility, longevity, and cognitive function. On the liability side, I'm writing excess body fat with arrows pointing to increased inflammation, hormonal disruption, reduced energy, higher healthcare costs, and accelerated aging. The net position, what I call your physiological net worth, is simply assets minus liabilities. Now you might be thinking, okay, Godwin, I understand the metaphor, but how does this actually connect to my financial situation, my actual money? Here's the bridge, and this is the part where people's eyes usually open up. Your body is the vehicle through which all financial activity occurs. Every single dollar you will ever earn requires your physical presence, your cognitive capacity, your energy levels, and your operational lifespan. In financial terms, Your body is the ultimate human capital asset, the engine that generates all other forms of capital. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Marcus. Marcus was 34 years old, earning $180,000 per year as a software architect. On paper, his financial capital was growing nicely. He was maxing out his retirement accounts, had a diversified portfolio, even owned a rental property. By any conventional measure, he was winning. But here's what the spreadsheet didn't show. Marcus was carrying 25 kilograms of excess body fat. His fasting glucose was in the pre-diabetic range. He was sleeping poorly, and his energy crashed every afternoon around 2 p.m. His human capital, the underlying asset generating all that financial return, was deteriorating at an accelerating rate. I'm going to draw a depreciation curve here on a whiteboard, the same kind you'd see for industrial equipment. Marcus's body was depreciating faster than his investments were appreciating. The net result? At his trajectory, actuarial tables suggested he'd have serious health complications by his early 50s, right around the time his financial portfolio was supposed to start paying dividends in retirement. He was building a castle he'd never be healthy enough to live in. Marcus made a change, not a dramatic transformation, not some miracle story, just a systematic reallocation of resources. He started treating his gym time like a non-negotiable investment meeting. He applied progressive overload, the fitness equivalent of dollar cost averaging, adding small increments of resistance over time. He addressed his caloric surplus the same way you'd address overspending, with tracking, awareness, and systematic reduction. Within 18 months, Marcus had lost 18 kilograms of fat and added approximately 4 kilograms of muscle. His fasting glucose normalized. His energy stabilized. And here's the financial kicker. His productivity at work increased by what he estimated to be about 20%, which led to a promotion and a $35,000 salary increase. This is a return on investment that doesn't show up in any stock ticker. The ROI on his physique transformation wasn't just aesthetic or health-related. It was directly financial. His human capital appreciated, and that appreciation expressed itself in financial capital gains. Let me introduce you to a concept I call the total capital equation. I'm drawing it on the whiteboard now. Total capital equals financial capital plus human capital minus liabilities, where liabilities include both financial debt and physiological debt. Most people optimize for only one term in this equation, usually financial capital, while completely ignoring or even degrading human capital. That's like trying to maximize revenue while letting your core infrastructure collapse. It's a fundamentally unsound strategy. Here's another parallel that I think really crystallizes this. In investing, we talk about inflation as a silent wealth destroyer. Your money loses purchasing power over time if it's not growing faster than inflation. In physiology, we have an equivalent force called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. After about age 30, the average person loses 3 to 5% of their muscle mass per decade if they're not actively training. That is physiological inflation eating away at your human capital assets. Let me put some numbers to this. If you have 30 kilograms of muscle mass at age 30 and you do nothing, by age 60 you could have lost anywhere from 5 to 10 kilograms of that muscle. That's a massive depreciation of your metabolic engine, your functional capacity, your insulin sensitivity, your bone density protection. The studies on this are alarming. According to research published in Age and Aging, sarcopenia is associated with a 2 to 5-fold increase in the risk of disability, falls, and mortality. You cannot enjoy compound interest on your retirement accounts if sarcopenia has compounded against your body first. Now here's the good news, and this is why I'm actually optimistic about this message. Unlike financial markets, which are subject to macroeconomic forces largely outside your control, your physique responds with near-perfect predictability to consistent inputs. The muscle protein synthesis response, which I'm illustrating here on the whiteboard as an upward curve, is activated every time you provide sufficient mechanical tension through resistance training and adequate protein intake. This is the most reliable return on investment I've ever seen. Show up, apply progressive overload, recover properly, and the adaptation happens. There's no market crash that can take your muscle gains away from you. Let me talk about time preference for a moment, because this psychological concept is the bridge between financial success and physical success. Time preference refers to how much you discount future rewards in favor of immediate gratification. High time preference individuals want everything now: the cake, the Netflix binge, the purchase. Low time preference individuals are willing to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain. Here's the thing. Every study on both financial wealth accumulation and physical fitness success shows the same pattern. Those who build wealth and those who build physiques share the single trait. They have learned to override their default high time preference programming. When you skip a workout because you don't feel like it, you're exhibiting high time preference. When you spend money impulsively, same thing. When you choose the burger over the protein and vegetables, high time preference. The muscle on your frame and the money in your accounts are both direct reflections of your time preference patterns. They're measuring the same underlying psychological variable. Now, you might be thinking, Godwin, I'm already stretched thin. I barely have time to manage my finances, let alone optimize my physique. And I hear you. But here's what I want to challenge. The dichotomy between time spent on fitness and time spent on productivity is false. The data actually shows the opposite. A study from the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Medicine found that employees who exercise regularly reported 50% lower absenteeism and demonstrated measurably higher productivity. You don't lose time to the gym. You invest time in the gym, and it pays dividends in every other hour of your day. Let me draw the action framework now, what I call the Portfolio plus Physique Protocol. I'm sketching a simple grid. On one axis, we have investment activity. On the other axis, we have training activity. The goal is to systematically move yourself toward the upper right quadrant, where both are optimized. First principle, automate your investments and schedule your training. Just like you set up automatic contributions to your index funds, you schedule your workouts as non-negotiable appointments. Both behaviors remove the friction of daily decision-making. Second principle, track your metrics. In finance, you know your net worth, your savings rate, your asset allocation. In fitness, you should know your body composition, your key lift numbers, your protein intake. What gets measured gets managed in both domains. Third principle, progressive overload in both arenas. In the gym, this means systematically increasing weight, reps, or volume over time. In finance, this means systematically increasing your savings rate, your income, and your investment knowledge. Small incremental improvements compound dramatically. Fourth principle, diversification. In your portfolio, you don't put all your money in a single stock. In your training, you don't rely on a single exercise or movement pattern. You diversify your exercise selection to build a resilient, balanced physique that can handle varied demands. Fifth principle, manage your liabilities aggressively. Pay down high-interest debt as a priority. Simultaneously, reduce your physiological debt, which means systematically reducing excess body fat through a sustainable caloric deficit. Both forms of debt extraction accelerate your net worth accumulation. Here's a concrete example. Let's say you're currently at 25% body fat, and you have $15,000 in credit card debt at 22% APR. These are your twin liabilities. A strategic 12-month plan might look like this. On the financial side, you aggressively pay $1,500 per month toward that debt, eliminating it in roughly 11 months and saving approximately $1,800 in interest payments. On the physical side, you create a 500 calorie per day deficit through a combination of reduced intake and increased activity, resulting in approximately 0.5 kilograms of fat loss per week, which gets you to about 18% body fat in 12 months. At the end of the year, your total capital has improved dramatically on both sides of the equation. Let me address a common objection I hear, especially from the finance community. Some people say, I'll focus on building wealth now and fix my health later when I have more time and money. This reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of depreciation curves. Your physical infrastructure, unlike financial assets, has an asymmetric relationship with time. The longer you wait to address physiological liabilities, the more costly the remediation becomes. A 25-year-old can reverse metabolic dysfunction in months. A 55-year-old with the same issues maybe looking at years of work, and significantly higher risk of permanent damage. There's also what economists call opportunity cost. Every year you spend in a compromised physical state is a year of reduced energy, reduced cognitive performance, and reduced compounding potential for your human capital. You're not just deferring fitness, you're actively losing returns. This is where the integration becomes critical. You don't sequence wealth building and health building. You parallelize them. The same discipline, the same time preference, the same systematic approach applies to both. When you build muscle, you're building capacity to earn more, work longer, think clearer, and live long enough to actually enjoy what you've accumulated. I want to leave you with this mental image. I'm drawing two figures on the whiteboard. The first figure is someone at age 65 with a substantial financial portfolio, but a deteriorated physical body. They have the money to travel, but not the mobility. They have the time, but not the energy. They have the resources, but their health care costs are consuming a significant portion of their wealth. The second figure is someone at 65 with a moderate, but sufficient financial portfolio and a well-maintained physical body. They can move, they can travel, they can play with grandchildren, they can experience a life their money can provide. Which scenario represents true wealth? Total capital is the synthesis of financial capital and human capital minus all liabilities. It's the recognition that your body is not separate from your balance sheet. It is a foundation upon which the entire balance sheet rests. The richest portfolio in the world means nothing if the person holding it is too broken to use it. So here's my challenge to you. This week, look at your current position honestly. Calculate your financial net worth. You probably already have that number or something close to it. Now, calculate your physiological net worth. What's your body composition? What's your strength level? What's your cardiovascular capacity? What's your mobility? And critically, what's your trajectory? Are these assets appreciating or depreciating? Then make one change in each domain. One financial optimization, maybe increasing your savings rate by 1%. One physical optimization, maybe adding one strength training session per week. Small moves, compounding over time. That's the formula. Build the portfolio. Build the physique. Because an empire without a healthy emperor is just an inheritance waiting to happen. And you didn't come this far to build something for someone else to enjoy. My name is Godwin. Thank you for watching. If this redefined how you think about total capital, hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who's optimizing the wrong variables. I'll see you in the next one.